1. Introduction. RAWSEP view. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable. Wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design Wood Stove and International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP view. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.
Episode 57 DGV 50 United States State Environmental Fixes. The first 10. In Episode 57 DGV 1 United States State Environmental Fixes. The first 10. 2 United States, 3 California, 4 Kansas and Nebraska, 5 Massachusetts, 6 New York, 7 North Dakota, 8 Ohio, 9 South Dakota, 10 Canada, 11 Australia, 12 New Zealand, 13 United Kingdom, 14 China, 15 PM 2.5 and Human Health. Main content. 1 United States State Environmental Fixes. The first 10. 1A Arizona, 1B Colorado, 1C Connecticut, 1D Hawaii, 1E Idaho, 1F Indiana, 1G Louisiana, 1H Maryland, 1I Massachusetts, 1J Missouri Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The New York Times, April 22, 2025. 50 states fixes. Environmental solutions may seem out of reach, but they are happening all over the country this year. We will be highlighting one thing that is working in every state. 1A Arizona, living car-free in Arizona on purpose and happily. 1 community near Phoenix is taking a completely different approach to development. March 25, 2025. 1B Colorado, bridges and tunnels in Colorado are helping animals commute. The state has emerged as a leader in building wildlife crossings which can save animals money and human lives. March 25, 2025. 1C Connecticut Shell Recyclers in Connecticut are helping Oysters find homes. A non-profit group is rescuing shells from restaurant of trash bins and using them to rebuild oyster habitat in Long Island Sound. April 21, 2025. 1D Hawaii. At this clinic in Hawaii, nature is the medicine. A neglected parcel of land was restored by volunteers and patients at a community medical center. Along the way, their health also improved. March 25, 2025. 1D Idaho They are in hot water in Idaho Here is why that is a good thing. Nearly 500 buildings in the state capital get their heat from a clean renewable source located deep in the ground. March 25, 2025. 1F Indiana. In Indiana, putting up solar panels is doing the work of God. A cluster of evangelical groups said the state is pushing for environmental action. Leaders say they are following the biblical mandate to care for creation. April 21, 2025. 1G Louisiana, fighting Louisiana floodwaters with patches of green. Simple affordable initiatives like rain gardens are helping to soak up water in New Orleans. April 21, 2025. 1H Maryland protected nearly a third of its land, and it is reaching for more. 9 states have set goals to conserve 30% of their land by 2030. Maryland got there first. April 21, 2025. 1I Massachusetts care about food waste. In Massachusetts you can be a compost consultant. It is a dirty job and someone gets to do it. March 25, 2025. 1J Missouri. How a funeral director brought wind power to rural Missouri. Every year for nearly 2 decades the small city of Rockport has been producing more electricity from wind energy than it needs. April 21, 2025. We are telling one story from every U.S. state. Google Alerts. 2. A United States PM 2.5 Summary. Health impacts of poor air quality. National Academy of Medicine. The contribution of wildfire to PM 2.5 trends in the USA. Burke et al. 2023. Inequity in consumption of goods and services adds to racial ethnic. 2b. United States Inflation Reduction Act and Trump attempted block that may affect heat pump rebates. Legal war over spending. IRA funds continues. ACHR News. Air source heat pumps. IRA funding battle. Inflation Reduction Act rebate incentives for air source heat pumps and other high-efficiency HVAC. United States Inflation Reduction Act and heat pumps. Desperate homeowner seeks advice after water heater causes 400% bill increase. The cool down. And thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, buyers can claim a 30% tax rebate up to $2,000 on a heat pump water heater. Though the Trump 2C United States heat pumps. Mitsubishi Electric Train HVAC US launches new low GWP all-electric all-climate heat. Business Wire. The high-performing all-climate heat pump product suite available now includes new indoor and outdoor residential units in popular series such as FX. Mitsubishi Electric Train HVAC US launches new low GWP all-electric all-climate heat. Morningstar. The high-performing all-climate heat pump product suite. Heat pump and air conditioning systems in the United States and Latin America. United States heat pumps. Best heat pump water heaters of 2025. Consumer Reports tested heat pump water heaters to determine which ones were the most energy efficient and fastest at heating water. United States heat pumps. Bridging the heat pump training gap. ACHR News. To ensure performance, longevity and profit, HVAC decks need to be properly trained on all aspects of heat pumps or it could spell disaster for 2D. United States heat pump rebates. The government wants to give you $2,000 for this cutting-edge appliance. The cool down. It is one of many changes along with upgrading to electric heat pumps or applying for appliance rebates, helping Americans electrify their homes. And United States heat pump rebates. The true cost of $999. Solar plus battery deals revealed. Solar quotes battery. Standard battery installation next to meter boxes included. Prices after solar VIC rebate and loan. Heat pump STC calculator. EV 2E. United States heat pump water heater rebates. Ultra intelligent water heaters put older models to shame and you could get the cool down. For example, the IRA can knock up to $1,400 off the price of a heat pump water heater in both rebates and tax credits. Heat pump water heater rebate. 3A. California Forest Service to begin pile burning Tuesday in Cedar Ridge area. The Union Democrats Stanislaus National Forest Miwok Summit Ranger District firefighters intend to burn high visibility wood piles in the Cedar Ridge area on Tuesday. 3B. California. Do heat pumps save you money? In California it depends on your electric utility. Inside Climate News. Electric heat pumps are around 3 times more efficient than gas appliances and the Sudicar clients typically use less energy overall after making. 3C. California. Berkeley. No plants, no wood fences. Berkeley bans anything flammable within 5 feet of many hills homes. Berkeley side. The Berkeley Fire Department had proposed a slew of changes to city ordinances, specifically the sections that relate to fire code establishing. For Kansas and Nebraska PM 2.5 and limiting outdoor activity. Millions in 2 states warn to limit outdoor activity. Newsweek. The advisory is in place due to elevated levels of PM 2.5 particulates, fine particles that are less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter and can pose. Residents across eastern Nebraska are under an air quality alert from Tuesday evening through Wednesday morning due to increased concentrations of fine particulate pollution as residents in neighboring Kansas also faced elevated levels of air pollution. The alert issued in coordination with the National Weather Service, the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services (DHHS) and the Department of Environment and Energy (D) warns of air quality levels ranging from moderate to unhealthy for sensitive groups. 5. Massachusetts. Operating a heat pump in Massachusetts is about to get cheaper. Environment America. For many utility customers in Massachusetts heating with a heat pump. New rebate programs to cut energy waste in New Mexico. September 3, 2024. Heat pumps are efficient heating and cooling systems that can heat and cool your home in place of a furnace or boiler and an air conditioner. Heat Massachusetts heat pump owners could pay less for electricity next winter. Canary Media. Many of the remaining homes use inefficient electric resistance heating. The state climate plan calls for installing 500,000 heat pumps by 2032. 6. A New York Earth Day Spotlight the science behind heat pumps video. Syracuse University News. Shapiro says heat pumps work by moving heat from the outdoor air to the indoor space, similar to how a refrigerator moves heat from the inside to the 6B. New York. The Trump-China tariffs hit the New York clean heat experiment. New York focus heat pumps allow homes to rely on electricity rather than gas for heating and cooling. They typically include both indoor and outdoor components. And 7. North Dakota Grand Forks Sunrooms Plus Incorporated offers wide range of products to enhance the home and lifestyle of one Grand Forks Herald. New customers are taken aback by the number of burning displays, which include gas, wood and electric fireplaces, but that is only part. 8. Ohio Chillicothe. What you need to know about the public camping ordinance recently passed. Chillicothe Gazette. The ordinance has been hotly ordinance that prohibits trespassing after hours, littering, open burning and mortaries of wood from the law. 9. South Dakota Millbank Watertown Fire Rescue responds to multiple rubbish fires, issues burn policy reminder. KXLG. Only commercial firewood, cut trees and charcoal are allowed to be burned in recreational fires. WFR also issued a warning about the current dry. 10. A Canada Tesla. Federal regulators freeze Tesla out of $30 million EV incentives amid new tariffs that cool down. The Canadian government has halted all Tesla rebates and banned future Tesla rebate. A cleaner, more affordable future might be just one heat pump. 10. B Canada Tesla. New report exposes the Tesla $30 million EV rebate loophole. Tesla gamed the system to cool down. A cleaner, more affordable future might be just one heat pump. 10. C Canada Nova Scotia mixed reaction to end of carbon tax rebates in Guysborough County. Penticton Herald. He added, converting to heat pumps and electric vehicles is a great goal and will save money and reduce GHG emissions from burning fossil fuels, but 11. Australia. The Australia federal government battery rebate. What we know. Solar quotes the federal government battery rebate. What we know and what you can do now. Heat pump STC calculator. EV chargers. Top 5 EV charger brands. 12. New Zealand hidden harm. The wood smoke impact on Rotorua Health News. ZB wood burner checks in Rotorua to improve air quality. A ban on older burners in 2020 has improved air quality, but more work is needed. Wood smoke. 13. United Kingdom heat pump installation need not be problematic. Readers respond to a letter. RAWSEP view. It appears from anecdotal evidence that the paperwork involved with heat pump installation in the United Kingdom is not usually a problem for the average person. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission. Particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit organization. The Guardian. Letters April 14, 2025. First letter in response to a letter about a problem with a heat pump installation. I had a heat pump installed last year. I needed a new boiler and wanted to be as environmentally friendly as I could. I have had solar panels for some years, so I had a battery installed along with the heat pump. I agree it is a very expensive process and I am unlikely to reap long-term benefits as I am already 81. However, I do not recognize the complicated procedure. She speaks about the company that installed my pump dealt with the application for me. There was some online form filling to prove I was entitled to the grant, but it did not take long. I spoke to the company at the end of May and it was installed in the middle of July. I live in a 4-bedroom Edwardian house which has been warm all winter. I used to pay £3,000 per year for my gas and electricity. For the first 3 months of this year my electricity cost has been under £400, which includes charging my electric car at the moment. Heat pump installation is not for everyone, but I would not want anyone considering having one installed to be put off because of the paperwork. A woman from Teddington, London. Second letter. The overwhelming majority of heat pump installations do not need the planning permission that Dr. Kirsten Oswald refers to. They are considered permitted development, nor you do have to use a government grant to have one installed. Ours was recently installed without a grant and it cost less than it would now with a grant. There is a legitimate point here in that as soon as a grant is available, installers put their prices up, and yes, the cost of gas per kilowatt hour is far lower than that of peak electricity. However, a heat pump will deliver around 4 kilowatt hours of heat per kilowatt hour of electricity used, and if this is timed with off-peak electricity it will be cheaper than gas per kilowatt hour. For example, at off-peak electric of 14p per kilowatt hour, heating via heat pump would cost around 35p per kilowatt hour as opposed to around 65p for gas. A man from West Tolkas, Cornwall. Third letter. It is unfortunate that she had such a negative experience with a heat pump installation. However, I am surprised. I have just had a heat pump installed in Sheffield by a local company who looked after everything. All I had to do was sign the various documents they sent me. The whole process took 2 weeks. I agree that any savings will be minimal or possibly even non-existent, while the price of electricity is so high, but the technology is far more efficient than a gas boiler. And while the UK continues to expand electricity production from renewables, the thought of relying on an imported fossil fuel for heating seems retrograde to say the least. 13b United Kingdom England and Wales map reveals residential wood-burning hotspots in England and Wales. The Guardian. Dr. Laura Horsfall from University College London said we began investigating domestic wood-burning after our earlier study identified rising rates. 13c United Kingdom Scotland wood-burning stoves to be included in future homes standard. HNV News. Modern wood-burning systems will be permitted as secondary heating sources in new-build homes under the upcoming legislation. 14 China Spatial characterization of periodic behaviors of ground PM 2.5 concentration across the Science Direct.com abstract. Fine particulate matter PM 2.5 has long been a major air pollutant across China, but its periodic behaviors are still not comprehensively. This study collected PM 2.5 hourly concentrations at 168 sites across the Yangtze River Delta YRD and the North China Plain NZP during 2014 to 2024. 15 PM 2.5 and ADHD. Long-term effects of PM 2.5 constituents on childhood attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Science Direct.com. Organic matter and black carbon contributed most to the observed association. Abstract background evidence linking fine particulate matter PM 2.5 mounting evidence indicates a positive association between an elevated risk of childhood ADHD and exposure to fine particulate matter PM 2.5. Lu at 15 BPM 2.5 and blood coagulation. Interactive effects of ambient fine particulate matter and ozone on typical blood coagulation. Science Direct.com. Residents may modify the effects of PM 2.5 and O3 on typical coagulation parameters. Abstract background. The evidence for the interactive effects of 15 CPM 2.5 and in vitro fertilization IVF success. Seasonal air pollution found to undermine IVF success. News Medical. Net particulate matter PM with a diameter of 2.5 micrometers or less. PM 2.5 pollution on the outcomes of assisted reproductive technology. Art. How does 15D PM 2.5 and neurodegenerative biomarkers in adults? Association between chronic PM 2.5 exposure and neurodegenerative biomarkers in adults. BMC Public Health Biomed Central. This study confirmed the elevated PM 2.5 levels at the study location exceeding the regulatory limits. Women exhibited relatively higher amyloid beta 1.
One introduction. RAWSEP view. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only for home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen, and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design Wood Stove. International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP view. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.